Hey everybody, this is Kevin Purcell with the Theotek podcast tonight, and we are continuing. Tonight with our Theotek podcast on doing our series of sermon prep. We're in part 4. We've already covered picking a passage and doing some outlines, doing inductive Bible study, like observations, writing down what you already know, questions, writing down what you don't know, looking things like that up in Bible dictionaries. Some atlases, all the resources that you would use, the reference works that you would use. And then tonight what we're going to cover is we're going to do English-based word studies, but then also how do you get at the Greek information and the Greek elements behind that, primarily from the perspective of if I don't really know Greek and Hebrew that well, like I'm not a good translator. Wes always translates his passages. If you're not a good translator, but you still want to get at the original meaning of a text, then we're going to show how to do that. And of course, we've got Rick Mansfield from Accordance, and so we're going to let him kick it off by showing how to do that in Accordance. And then, I've used Logos more often, so I'm going to show how to do it in Logos. But understand, you can do this in any of your Bible study packages. You may have to dig a little bit to learn how to do it and figure that out. But it's a real useful thing to get at. What's the actual meaning, Greek and Hebrew. Antoine, to bring you in on this discussion, Greek and Hebrew, do you like sitting out in the congregation and listening to pastors say, the Greek says?
I like it a lot, actually. I thought it was really cool, and I think at the time, because I was into etymologies, and archaeology and all that, so it just kind of flew down my path of, ooh, that's cool, and I knew where to go ahead and find more meaning. Over the years, kind of since those beautiful times, I guess, I'm less inclined to, throw my ear to it unless the context of how they're saying that original meaning really fits, not necessarily just with the scripture, but also with, if you will, modern context. So, hearing what the modern context has to say against the Greek or Hebrew or Aramaic context of a word, when I get those threads together, that's when it pays the most sense for me.
Yeah, I think it's best not to wow people with your knowledge of Greek, but just share what you learned, and you don't have to make references to Greek and Hebrew that often to do so. Rick, to get it started off, before you jump into Accordance and showing us how to do this.
Well, and can I make a comment?
Why?
Well, can I make a comment first to what you just said?
Yeah, go ahead.
And greetings from Bossier City, Louisiana. That's where I am tonight. I'm sitting outside of a Starbucks using Google Wi-Fi. In regard to what you just said, yeah, I don't think that you have to make yourself sound really smart in front of your congregation. I've sat there underneath pastors who liked to do that a lot, and of course a lot of times it's young pastors right out of school. I occasionally will say something like, in the original language is blank, but I rarely say, in the Greek this is the such and such. I go into that because I think one thing that can do is that can put a separation between the people in your church and the scriptures, and you don't want to do that. You want to bridge that gap. You don't want to make that gap wider, and so I thought what you said was good. I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. So why do we need to do these kinds of word studies? Why can't we just stay in the English all the time?
Well, I believe that I believe it's important to remember that the scriptures that we have did not come down to us in English, contrary maybe to a KJV only claim. They didn't come to us in English. They were originally in Hebrew, Aramaic, or Greek, and so the more time we can spend in that, the understanding from that perspective, the better we can do that. There are certain tools that people can use if they're translating directly from that, and then but the wonderful thing about the age that we live in, especially when you have access to Bible software, is that you can access those original languages even if you're not strong necessarily in Greek or Hebrew or Aramaic. You can still get access to the underlying meaning, and we have to remember that all of the major translations, I would say, are reliable or trustworthy. Sometimes there's differences, and there's rarely ever, I don't know if there's ever any one-word correspondence between an English word and a Greek or Hebrew word, or a French word or German word or whatever. And so there's nuances, and so it helps to understand as much as you can about that background and as much as you have time to put together.
Yeah, right. I think that's good, and I think the most important thing is, you're trying to understand what did it mean then. And this language study is the best way to get at that. If you're capable and have the tools and the resources to do it, if you've never taken a single Greek or Hebrew class with modern resources like Logos or Accordance or BibleWorks, somewhat in word search, you can get at some of this meaning thanks to great tools like Strong's numberings and how a lot of the dictionaries, even the non-Strong's dictionaries, are tied to Strong's numbers, or Mounts is another one. So anyway, Rick, why don't you get your screen shared and ready to go? And so start us off, and I think you're going to begin with John 3:16, everybody's favorite because we're all familiar with it, and tell us, what does it mean when he says that God loved us?
Okay, first, can you hear me? Because I'm trying to mute myself when I'm not talking.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, and now, important question: can you see my desktop? I don't think you can.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, you can. So you're looking at Accordance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna show you 2 or 3 things that you can do in Accordance for word studies, and we're starting really kind of from the English. We're not necessarily assuming any Greek or Hebrew. I'm going to go to John 3:16. I've also enlarged my type a little bit here, and so I'm hoping that this shows up well enough for the video. So I've gone to John 3:16 here, and one thing that Accordance does right off is that you have an original language text next to it, such as I've got the Greek New Testament. It cross highlights just by moving my mouse over the words, and then you also see information in the instant details down at the bottom. And so I'm going to actually close some of this, and we'll just start here with the English. And so let's say I'm going to preach on John 3:16, and I want to find out a little bit more about love in the Bible. And so we'll start out real general, and then we'll go specific. And so, to me, one of the best ways to do a search is just to do a right click, or bring up a contextual menu, 2-finger click on a Mac, which is what I'm on right now on the trackpad. And so I can search for, and here's what I'm going to search for. I'm going to search for the word, but I'm going to search for it in what's called a flex search. And what that means is, it immediately went to those results. Make them a little bit larger here. What that means is, not only did it search for the English word, and we're just doing English at the moment, not only did it search for the English word love, but it also finds variations, loved and loves, and so forth. And there's 784 variations of that word love. I'm using the HCSB, the Home Christian Standard Bible. Now, if I want to, just starting out, I might want to take a look and see, well, if I'm trying to get a better idea about how love is used in the Bible, I might go to something like the hits graph in my analysis. And so this hits graph, what it does is it kind of shows me, I've got it set to per 1,000 words. Where is the largest concentration of love in the Bible? And so, it's really interesting. You see a lot of it here in the wisdom literature, especially in the Psalms. And here's a spike. In Proverbs and Song of Solomon, and even getting into the first parts of Isaiah. Down in the instant details at the bottom, let me make that a little bit larger. You can see as I move the mouse over these hits where they are. And then you've got another spike over here in the Gospel of John, and then in the Johannine literature as well. And so that makes sense. And so that's interesting. That kind of tells you where it's kind of concentrated. Another thing that you can do here is I can come down and I can look at word count analysis. And so, because as we've talked about, I just did a search for the English word love, but what I discover is, because there are Strong's numbers underneath that, when I put my mouse over these words, it tells me the Strong's number down there in instant details. So for this particular use of loved in in Genesis 25:28, what I see there is the Strong's number with an H for Hebrew, 0157. And so, when I'm over here and I look at this analysis, this tells me that there were 55 different forms for this English word love. Again, this is in the HCSB, but it shows us both the Greek and the Hebrew here. Another way I can look at this, especially if I wanted to talk about maybe even with the group about how love is differentiated here. Let's make this full screen. And so, I can pull up this chart. Let's switch it from key number to word. This even shows me how it's being translated in various places. Now, again, this is just showing spread so far. I'm going to close this, and let's go back to this idea of John 3:16 for a second. And I'm in my hits, and so when I put the mouse over loved, what I discover is that this is from, I look down the instant details, this is from the Greek word agapao. Let me just confirm, you can still hear me, right, Kevin or Antoine? I want to make sure I'm still here. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
Okay. We've done that. That happened last week. I was just rattling on and didn't even know that I was no longer on. So, okay. So, if I want to see, I want to see where agapao is used. First of all, one thing I can do is I can triple click on this word, and let's try it again. There we go. And this pulls up a Mounce Greek dictionary. If I triple click on that Greek word, it can pull it up for me in my Greek lexicon of choice, agapao. I'm going to show you some other dictionaries, though, if BDAG is not your thing, and if you want to use some more standard English language references. But one thing I can do is if I want to really focus in on how is this word agapao used in the Bible, and it's just going to be in the New Testament, obviously. But I can go here to my contextual menu again, and I can search for the key number. So what that's going to do is that's going to search for this number G0025. So when I say search for key number, this is really a more accurate search, because what this has found is this is found every time that this agapao is used, not just the English word love, but where this particular word is used. That's what this is telling me. And again, I can come here and I can look at a hits graph, and I can see where this is, where there's a really strong concentration, similar to what we had before in Johannine literature, Gospel of John, letters of John, and even some places in Revelation there. But this is a more accurate look. And the other thing that's interesting here is I can also look to see how the word is translated, and in this particular case, there's not too many variations. We do have beloved in here and unloved, but one thing that you'll find, like for instance, if we were in Genesis 1:1 and we were to do the same thing with bara for created, we would get a lot of variation in the ways that that's translated into English. So I'm going to come back here again we're looking here at John 3:16, and let me open up. I'm going to go back here to my library, and so here's some particular tools for some expository dictionaries. In my dictionaries folder, I made a subfolder called expository. And in the expository dictionary, I grouped some kind of well-known expository dictionaries. So the way this works in accordance is if you have any word highlighted, and I shouldn't even say highlighted, I've got this word selected. I double-clicked on love to make it selected. And then when I come over here to my library, this little amplify icon comes up as I move the mouse over every word. So for instance, I can come here to the Encyclopedia of Bible Words, and I can click on that, and that will find that will look for the use of love. Now, what this is telling me is that the Encyclopedia of Bible Words did not have a major section on love. So let's go to a different one here. Let's go back here, and with love selected here, let's go to Wren's Expository Dictionary. That's given me It's not giving me quite what I wanted. Let's just try it here out of the Holman. See, I should have rehearsed this first. I just assumed it would work. Okay, so one thing, what it's doing here is, well, it's looking for. I'll tell you what it's doing. It's looking for loved with John in John 3:16. So I'm going to take this out, and this would have probably worked in all of them. I'm going to just search in the titles for love. Maybe not. Yes.
Rick.
Yes.
While you're doing that, you've kind of gone through a couple of ways to kind of attack the word love.
Here's what I wanted.
You
Yes.
nailed the word love. Is there a plus or minus? And this is me speaking as a guy who's not gone to seminary.
And I know what I was doing wrong here too. Go ahead.
Taught the guy who's not been to seminary and not taught the right or wrong ways to go searching. But that's the way that I had learned, was taught, if you will, how to go to the text, find the unique word, find the number in Strong's, etc. Is there any way that's better than the other, or is it kind of personal preference, or?
It's preference, and I'm showing you 2 or 3 different ways here. You could just as easily, if I had a text here in parallel, let's just put in a Greek New Testament text here. I could just as easily, if I didn't know the Greek, I could see it cross highlighted here, and I could start to work directly from the Greek, because I could triple click that. It brings up this word. I get pretty detailed information, but then I can also come in here and I can switch that to from BDAG to even something like a more kind of a less technical work, such as the AMG's New Testament Word Study Dictionary, for example. But that's and here everything is transliterated. I don't have to know the Greek. So I mean, you could come from it from either direction you wanted to. Let me point out something that I was doing wrong a minute ago. I was clicking on the loved out of John 3:16, and I was trying to amplify that word. Obviously, that's not going to be a main title. So I just went down here to another one. We're still at in this case agape. So with that highlighted, I can come here, and now any of these dictionaries are going to work when I hit that amplify button. That's going to take me to these expository dictionary entries on love, and it's going to talk about more than just agape or agapao. That's just a different noun and verb forms, but it's going to trace this theme of love through the Bible. And so, like I said, any of these expository dictionaries more than likely are going to have an entry on love. And so here's Mounts, for instance. If I come down here to the Encyclopedia of Bible Words, I can click on, oops, let's go get this highlighted again. Click on this, and that particular one, maybe, oh, here's the article down here. So here's the, where did it go? Oh, here it is. So here's the article right here. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, when you just said a moment ago there you found out what you were doing wrong.
Right.
And what was that again? You had to highlight.
Okay, so I'd done this flex search, and so when I was in John 3:16, I had highlighted the word loved in the past tense, and I was trying to find a main entry heading in any of these expository dictionaries of the word loved. That's not what the entries are.
Oh, I get it.
Be, they're going to be around this word love. Like I said, kind of a rookie mistake there. But all I had to do was go down 2 or 3 entries, find that word love, and that's just a quick way to open up multiple tools here. Or I could create a group, and I could even search through all of them at once if I wanted to do that. Let me show you a couple other quick things that you can do as well. If I just go back to my full text, one kind of search that I can do here as well is I can enter a topic search, and so if I type in love and it puts in that command for me, I'm searching on the topic love, and when I hit return, there's 260 verses here basically. These are verses that have to do with love, but don't even necessarily have the word love in them. This is a topic search that has gone through the entire Bible and has found various passages that deal with that theme of theme of love. And of course, the other thing I can do too, we have things such as, let me see here, yeah, the Bible Themes Dictionary. So, you know, if I were to go to the Bible Themes Dictionary, I can go here and I can search for love as well. Or if I had that word highlighted, I could have amplified to it. And so this gives me some entries. It's got, these are Strong's numbers. I can go to, or I don't know, actually I don't think those are Strong's numbers. I think these are just topic numbers, and I can go to these particular themes. It wouldn't surprise me if these are the same topic numbers used by the Thompson chain or something like that, which we have the Thompson chain too. You could also search that way as well. I can go back here and look. You know, here's love for God, specific themes on that, and it's a real good way if my message is going to focus on a particular theme. I can look for any of these types of love. So that's a very quick overview of some different ways to use word searches. I can give you more detail about any of that, but just do you have any questions or anything?
Well, just getting back at the key idea here, and that is that you're not trying to retranslate love and, you know, change the meaning of it in that verse. You're trying to find what ways is this used and which one is most likely here. Is there a nuance to it? That kind of thing. One of the biggest problems that a lot of people do is they'll find a Greek word that has lots of very widely different translations, and they'll say, well, you know, it's also used this way, and so then they go down a whole rabbit hole following after that secondary usage of it, but that's not what the author meant in this verse in this case, and so we have to be real careful with you doing this.
Context is king.
Right. It's a good way to find, you know, the range of meaning in a verse, which then helps me now narrow back to, okay, why did the author choose this word here? And the translators usually do a pretty good job of translating why did they pick that word instead of one of those other words that it shows up in 1 Corinthians and Revelation. Why did they pick that word instead of the ones that are over in those other places? And that just gives you a better understanding of the meaning of the word. Just be careful going too far with this, I guess was what I was trying to say. All right. Well, that's accordance. Antoine, did you have any thoughts about that?
Kevin, can I say I was cut off by the train there? I was going to say, adding to what you said there, one of the best things that you can do if you don't normally have access to English languages, if you're using accordance, or if you have a equivalent in another application, find out what that underlying word is, and do that keyword search so that you're staying on theme with that, because some of these words have widely varied meanings. And so look at context, try to stick with the same Hebrew Greek word, and that brings you a lot closer.
Right. Okay.
Hey,
Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, how do you guys deal with a phrase? So, there are, Greek is kind of, I won't say one for English, but more often than not it is. But Hebrew and Aramaic, sometimes there are words that may have really been phrases that kind of translate. How do you guys end up dealing with that, and how have you seen the software that you kind of work with deal with that? Because I hear what you say about the one-on-one translation, making sure you get the right context, but how do you deal with phrases when that might pop up?
Well, when it pops up and it's a phrase in English that's translating a single word in the original language, then you do your search on that original word. It's Strong's number, or key number, whatever. You take that search, because that is an important thing, and that's true very much so. You said, maybe not as much as in Greek. Actually, there's a number of places where it is significant in Greek, and so the important thing is to get at that number, and that's where some of these, the modern translation or the modern software that have, it's essentially a reverse interlinear. That's a term that was popularized a few years ago by I don't remember who, but what it is it's an English book, but it's tagged with the Greek Strong's number and definitions and things, behind it. Used to be you'd have to open up a big book that had an interlinear, and it had the line for the Greek, and then it had a line for all the details of the Greek, and then the English translation. And now that what they've done is they said, well, let's go the opposite direction. Let's put the English language at the center of it. And it depends on what you're doing. I think in accordance you can show that information. Can't you reveal that information if people want the raw interlinear data?
Yeah, you can. You can show the interlinear data, and as well as we have which I can show if you'd like to see it. We have an NIV with what we call enhanced tagging, and I think that probably within a few years all of these tag texts are going to be this way. It will show you the whole phrase for a Greek or Hebrew word rather than one word to one word, because one word to one word is really kind of misleading.
Yeah, it is, and that's the way they deal with that. Is at least in Logos. I'm going to share my screen here. No, I don't know what this is asking me here. I'm just going to ignore. Can you see Logos on screen there, guys?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I don't know what that pop-up was. I've got the English Standard Version open in Logos on John 3:16, and down here it shows the interlinear information, and so you get the manuscript, the lemma, all the way down. You can go in here and change what is shown. Let's see, I think that's how you turn it on and off, and then this is the one that helps you decide which ones you want to get rid of and show and that kind of thing. Anyway, so what I do in Logos, as we're doing it with the same word, love, what I often do is I just leave that off. I don't even show it. But you asked about the phrases. I don't know if we can find one in here. Well, here we go. May have. That's a short phrase. It's not a long one, but it's two words. And notice the may goes with the word have, echo, in Greek, and so it has the little arrow that points at it. And notice these little numbers. These show you the word order of the text in Greek, and so that's the seventh word in the verse, whereas here we've only got three words, and then we get to the fourth word. Anyway, so all of this information just kind of shows you, if you are adept with the Greek and you want to see all this information, you can. What I do, honestly, most of the time is I just leave that turned off, and I'll do my right click. In Logos, almost everything is through the right click. You go for the right click. You can do other ways, but there's so much information here. That's the way I like to get at it. And if you highlight on the right side, it changes the menu on the left side. So, like if you highlight the verse. So this is the manuscript form of, actually I don't have the right word there, do I? Yeah, okay, yeah, I do. I'm sorry. And then this is the lemma. What's a lemma? Anybody? Hello?
I was muted.
Oh, okay.
That's the lexical form.
Yeah, okay. I was just trying to involve you so that it wasn't just me talking the whole time. Anyway, so what I'll often do is I'll go for the root here. That's where I start with my search. And you right-click and then search this resource in line. And what that does is that brings up every verse and displays every verse in the book that has that root word. And so you can scroll through these and see it. So then I'll, if it's a Greek word, I'll start in the New Testament, and I'll just start reading through these, and often I'll have a note open. So like I'll go to Documents and Notes. So, and that creates a new note, and I'll just give it a title, Love Word. All right, why is it not letting me do what I want to do? It's being temperamental for some reason tonight. Add note, maybe. That's right. I'm used to adding notes to words instead of doing it that way. So, I'll go down here and I'll make observations. Now the word love isn't going to be that different, and so I'm not going to have a whole lot to write. But if I find something that's unique or different, or just something that's interesting, then I'll keep it in that note. I'm going to get rid of that because I really don't want to keep that. Anyway, I'll do that later. And you know, I do simple word studies, and that's kind of the primary. But then if I want to look at these dictionaries over here, then let me get back to John 3:16. I'm having a hard time reorienting myself because I've been forcing myself to use another program to learn it this week or the last couple of weeks, and so I'm sort of rusty. That's the problem when you use 4 different Bible software programs, is you find yourself doing that where you end up getting stuck that way. All right, so then you can search on the word, and I'll pull up a Bible word study, and that brings up a word study, and Logos will go in and then search for lots of different things. It finds the lemma in the different dictionaries that I have, so I can click on that and it opens it up, and I can go through here and read. And basically what a dictionary entry for a word is, they've done what I did over here. I went through all the words. They just have done it in a very exhaustive form and recorded every single instance, or most of the instances, depending on how advanced or useful the dictionary, not useful, but you know what I'm saying, how exhaustive the dictionary is. And they're just then categorizing these into different forms. So to have a warm regard for and interest in another, cherish, have affection for, love. Okay? Now, does that sound like the way we always hear preachers preach that agapao is? Not really. I mean, that doesn't sound at all like it, but that's the way the word is often used. To have a high esteem or satisfaction with something, take pleasure in, that's one way to look at it. To practice is express love, proves love. Anyway, so BDAG, that's the thing I'm looking at there. Now, what I have is, notice the little B here. You can link these. And so I've got it so that I can find this. Well, I'm not going to find it there or there. It's supposed to go to everyone. Let me find my word study again. Open it there. There we go. See, so this one followed that, and Lo and Nita will follow it as well. Exegetical Dictionary of the New Testament follows it. So that way I click one of these in this word study, and the rest of these that are based on New Testament or Greek will follow it as well. Now, it's not just the lemma. This is sort of comparable to you were showing graphs and charts and things like that. You get the little thing up here, and that shows the instances of this word in each book of the Bible, and these are the ways that it's translated. You can click on one of these, and it changes the word study a little bit. You scroll down, it'll give you examples of that one, or scroll down and it'll change it to examples of this one down here. It finds the word in the Septuagint. If you're looking in Greek, it'll also find it in the Septuagint, so you can do it that way. And then they have what they call their senses. It gives you a sense of the word, of how it's used, which can be useful. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth over this, because if you use Logos, you can find this and go online and find a lot more detail about that. Now they have clause participants, so it's people related to the word love. So God, this is 16 times it uses God's love. God loves, and then Jesus loves, and John loves. And so that gives you that. With agent, each of these mean different things. I'm not going to go through all of this, but you get the idea of what these word studies do. They're pretty useful. There's a lot of information here if you want to go into that much.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, and Antoine, I want to show you something too, also in answer to your question. But go ahead and ask Kevin.
Yeah. This is to both of you. Those visualizations, I deal with enterprise architecture and people that love dashboards. Pictures speak a million more words than just really saying a statistic or just displaying the statistic. How often do you guys use those visualizations when you're doing those word studies? Maybe do you use those as part of your sermons, or is it just for study purposes?
I don't remember ever using one in an actual sermon. because I think that's too much academic speak that the majority of people are just not that excited or interested to see. The closest thing I've ever come to it is sometimes I'll say, you know, John uses the word love in the gospel this many times, and so therefore it's definitely an important theme for the gospel writer. You know, I might come up with something like that. Well, I mean, just this week last Sunday I've been preaching through the passages about joy in Philippians, and so I mentioned a form of the word joy is used. I think it's 16 times in the book of Philippians, and so that's clearly a major theme for this book in Philippians. And then when you realize that Paul rather, very likely wrote that from a Roman prison, it shows, gives you an interesting idea of what does he mean by joy, not just comfort and happiness, but there's something deeper there. And so that's the only time I've gotten close to using that. Rick, how about you?
Yeah, I mean it's very rare, and it's almost I don't think those kinds of things would be appropriate for your average congregation that you're preaching to. But if you had a small group of people who are highly motivated, who are interested, in perhaps how some of these words are used, I think you could. Now, if you wanted to take a word like love, that's something very basic, and create a chart that would be meaningful to show how the word is used, you could probably do something like that. But I think you have to be careful to make certain that you aren't making people's eyes just kind of glaze over, or make yourself look. You have to make sure you're not trying to make yourself look really sharp or something.
Right. Yeah, there can be some idolatry or pride in this.
Yeah.
Boy, I sure am smart. Look what I can do. Now, one more thing. You mentioned using a topical approach. In Logos, they have the topic guide, which I'm not going to search for Ziklag, but I will search for love, and it'll go through and fairly quickly find you all of your information about love. It's got Holman Illustrated Bible Dictionary, the word charity, and also the word love. It'll find different stuff. They have a fact book which kind of brings together a lot of information, so you can pop open the fact book, which will show passages and dictionaries and senses, and it's kind of a really useful tool to quickly get at a lot of your resources. Related verses about love, sermons, in some of the sermon databases. Most of these I don't find that interesting, but when I see somebody like John Wesley, okay, maybe I do want to read that, or John Piper, I'm a fan of his, even though I'm not a Calvinist. But anyway, so you can see the value of that. And then illustrations. Most of the illustration stuff in Logos is garbage. I don't use this hardly at all. These interactive tools, you can pop open one of these, and honestly, I've never really used this, so I'm not sure what I'm going to find here. Okay, that's fun. And then media resources that you might find, or media collections. These can be useful when you're thinking about preaching, if you want some visuals for your sermons. The problem is a lot of these are tied to a specific text. I wouldn't use this visual if I'm preaching from John 3:16, although I might export it and get rid of this down here and put John 3:16 instead in Photoshop. But so anyway, there's a lot of different stuff in here. Now you notice that biblical people, places, things, you're not getting any hits on that because obviously the word love doesn't fit there. And then topics.logos.com, you can open that. It's a website. And then here's, as we all know and love about our fine friends at Logos, they like to sell you stuff. Of course, Accordance likes to sell you stuff too, don't they? Word search, everybody. But here's, you can, right from inside, you can go buy some stuff. And then Light Stock is new. To be honest, this is the first time I've even seen this. I guess you got to pay for this one, though, since it's got it watermarked there, I suppose. What happens if I hit download? Yep, create an account. So I won't bother. All right, so that's how I would do it in word search. In Logos. By the way, if you want to find an article that I wrote about doing word studies in word search, if you go to ministrytech.com and search our past volumes you can find. There was one, I think it was early last year or late 2014, I can't remember which. And the funny thing about it is I did it, and then someone at Logos saw it and said, "Will you rewrite that for our site? Because our people didn't know how to do that." So anyway,
Hey,
it really wasn't anything that earth-shattering. It was something that someone else showed me how to do. So
can I show a quick answer to Antoine's question too about the phrases?
yeah, go ahead.
Let me go back here to my screen and switch to coordinates. Can you see my screen okay? Okay, so this is what I was talking about. This is a NIV with enhanced GK numbers, and you can see the cross highlighting there. You know that it's from Theotek, but in English this is 5 words, and in fact there's even one word kind of in between the phrase, and so this is a really good way of seeing some, you know, in this case how there's not just necessarily word-to-word correspondence. Here's another example. This one has 6 words where the words are separated, all from kata marturio. But you know, I think this is kind of the future of a lot of these tag texts right now. We have a couple of them in accordance that we worked with the publisher to create these. We have this one, and then we have one from Mounts. But it wouldn't surprise me if in a few years they all move to this kind of thing, because this really helps you recognize this issue of phrases. And then the other thing I wanted to point out too is that there are some textual commentaries that will help you work with phrases as well. Now most of these kind of assume that you've got some background in original languages, but one of these, for instance, is the Linguistic and Exegetical Key to the Greek New Testament. So notice that it does give commentary over entire phrases and how the phrases are put together and work. And another example that's probably more popular than this one is the what's the old one that everyone calls Max and Mary? I can't remember what that one is called, but it's the same kind of thing where it takes you through a passage and will show you words or phrases and how they're used. So that's another way of getting to phrases. And then just really quickly, Kevin, you mentioned our interlinear. We have an interlinear that works with any tagged or keyed text. You can start from the English or start from Greek or Hebrew, whichever way you want to do it, and it's dynamic. So you add in what you want. So you know, I can add in the syntax, for instance. I can come in here and I say, well, I want to see this other translation. So let's see how I've got the NIV there. So let's see how the HCSB does, and it will put in all these various lines according to however you want to do that. And that we're even going to be adding that pretty soon to the mobile version. But you didn't hear that from me. That's not been announced yet. Okay. And I've lost all sound on you, Kevin.
I muted myself.
Okay.
Just to kind of give you an idea, you know, so that we don't make all of this about Logos and accordance. Our good friends at Olive Tree have some of this built in as well. So I'm trying to share the screen real quick. This is the current version of it. I'm looking forward to getting an update, which will open up a lot more in the Bible study from Olive Tree. But can you see that now? Okay, I'll just assume you can.
Yes, I had to unmute myself to say yes.
Yeah, I figured you did. Okay, so you know, here I've got the Holman Christian Standard Bible with Strong's open. Let's go to our John 3:16. Using all night, and for God loved. So notice you pop open. It just has a thing that pops open here. Now, one of the things I like that they added is this. This way you can have the thing open all the time if you want it. And then this will show you the enhanced Strong's Dictionary. You can also search for the word, and it brings this open to see the word. Go back and look up the word, and there you've got something that looks a little bit like their resource guide, which normally is over here, and you can find it in all your different dictionaries that you've got. And so they do it very simply and yet elegantly. I really like it in Olive Tree. If you want, though, you can just stay right here in the text, and if you have your resource guide open, if you go down far enough, you'll get to topics, and I'm certain that they probably have love somewhere in here. Maybe not. That's kind of crazy. Am I just missing it? Nope. Anyway, well,
Are you saying there's no love in Olive Tree?
there's no Olive Tree doesn't love like the rest of us. I just probably am missing it. So they've got sermons and things like that you can find. But as far as doing word study itself, the easiest way I find is just in Olive Tree is just click the word, and you can also library open up. I think it'll let me do this. Dictionaries. Let's see. Yeah, well, it's not showing love. I'd hoped it would, but anyway. So that's simply how you can do it in Olive Tree. I'm on a Mac, and so I don't have word search, and my Mac version of BibleWorks isn't properly functioning right now. It opens up the wine bottle thing, and wine is, I'm not talking about drinking wine, I'm talking about Windows emulator program that runs on Mac and other programs to let you run Windows software, and my installation is just not working properly right now.
I've got word search on here, but you'd have to guide me through it to.
Well, it's more complex than that. That people can get the idea. We've only got about 10 minutes left, and I think we might want to save some time for some favorite things. Do either of you have something you want to jump off the starting block with? Antoine, you got something?
Yes, I do. This past week, I ran into a very weird issue with my iPad Pro. The battery was dropping at a rate of like 25% in 30 minutes. And I thought I was running into a hardware issue. I've had a friend that had a hardware issue. So I took the weekend to just kind of relax and, just try to do my own little investigation. But when I went to the Apple store and I was there, I said, oh, well, since I'm there, I might as well go invest in a few things. So I did get the pencil. So now I have 2 pencils. But my favorite thing is actually this guy, the 29-watt power adapter.
Here, here.
This thing is freaking amazing. Charged my iPad Pro in an hour from 30 or 20%. It was amazing. I'm debating whether I want to spend the $49 and whatever tax to go ahead and get a couple more of these because it charged my Mini very fast. It charges everything very fast. It's definitely beefier than the other adapters, but this is well worth it. This is very, very much well worth it. It's in my car as my travel charger now, actually, so I can put that everywhere else. Do not be like me. If you do get it, you have to walk out the store with at least one cable, USB-C.
It's expensive because you have to get both of those.
You really do have to get both of those. I actually got the 2mm and the 1mm cable because I usually have a 2mm hanging out in the apartment. But I definitely need to get another one of these. But this, yes, this should have came with the Pro, well, at least the big Pro. But yeah, favorite. Clearly, easily favorite thing.
What I discovered, Antoine, with my iPad Pro was anything like if you're doing anything with video, that battery can go down pretty fast, and even when you're trying, there were times where I would be doing something really intensive and would be trying to have it plugged in, but I would see no gain. In fact, I kind of thought I might have even see it drop every once in a while, a percentage point or two. But that particular charger takes care of it, and you're exactly right. They should have added that from the beginning.
How do you connect it if it's USB-C? The iPad doesn't have USB-C.
It's a special cable, USB-C to Lightning.
Yeah.
Oh, so the actual adapter has a USB-C output on it?
It's the MacBook adapter. It's the same brick that came with my MacBook.
Right. What I'm saying is the brick itself has only a USB-C port on it.
Right.
Correct. It only
Okay.
has a USB-C port. Yeah. So and
Okay.
only one. So for those people who hate their MacBook with just one, they're gonna hate this one as well. But it's good. It's very good. You know, I'm impressed. I don't know if I'm $49 impressed again, but I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's pricey for a power connector. I wonder if there's someone else who makes something equivalent that would be
Yes, there
cheaper.
is. It's a company called Anchor. A few folks have had good words with it. A few folks have had ones that have failed. I rather I bit the bullet for this one, as I didn't need extra. But the Anchor one apparently has a couple of USB ports that are able to take the higher voltage in one of their offerings. So that's definitely doable. Amazon, other places sell that.
Okay, so Anchor's you said Anchor makes a 29 watt like that, or
Yeah, it's like
okay.
29, 25 watt. Yeah, it's definitely not 12.
So if you're adding the USB-C cable, I'm looking at it right now. It's $35 for the 2 meter, which is the length that you get with your iPad,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then $50. That's $85 to charge your iPad. I
And
think
then
I'll
and then I bought a pencil along with it. So I was having a good day apparently, or I don't know what day I was having. Uh, I went in for service and I left out with my wallet open. I guess that's the way it happens.
okay. Um, yeah, let's see here. Anchor has a 24 watt dual wall power adapter. Is that really 24 watt, or is it 12 times 2 equals 24? I wonder. All right. Well, Rick, have you got something you wanted to
I
brag on
do.
this week?
I do. The discussion of the because I'm sitting here at a Starbucks. I didn't bring much with me, but the discussion and mention of Anchor made me think. Well, what's right here in front of me? I have my MacBook plugged into this Anchor battery right here, and let me switch to the actual page on Amazon here. I'm going to share my screen, and there we go. And so this is the Anchor Power Core 26800 Premium Portable Charger. As far as I know, this is the largest legal portable charger that you can carry. And I bought online a USB-C cable that has a regular USB on the other end that I've got plugged in, and I've got it plugged into my MacBook. This will actually charge the MacBook now. I'm losing percentage points, as you can see at the top of my screen, but normally if I was doing video hangouts, I would have my battery would have been down to about 10% by this point. So it slows it, and if I had it off, it would actually charge it. But this is the one I carry with me when I travel for charging my iPad Pro or iPhone or anything like that on the go, and I've been very pleased with it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to share with you my least favorite thing this week. And in order to do it, I need to set this up. And so you guys talk amongst yourselves for just 1 second while I do this. I actually meant to have this thing set up, and then I forgot. I took it off and forgot, so it only takes me a second. You may remember a little while back I told you that I was a Kickstarter backer of a device that would give you a portable monitor that you could wear on your glasses. Here we go.
Oh my. You look like the Borg.
Well, this is called Viewfine. That's the name of the thing. I'll just give you the Viewfine right there. And I can't even remember how much I paid for this thing, but if it was $1, it would have been $1 too much. It's not wireless. You have to plug in a USB or an HDMI cable. Okay, so imagine being tethered to your whatever. Now, some people say they're using this with their iPads with the HDMI thing, but I tried plugging it in the back of my Mac Mini, and I can't. I mean, it's showing like lines. I plugged it into my Surface Pro. and you can see the image, but it's, I mean, imagine trying to see something in a little screen like that, and you can't see both sides of the screen, and you can't read any text. It's not meant at all for text. It's basically a gimmick, essentially.
What
Now,
is it exactly for, Kevin? What's it
what's that?
for? What is it actually for? What are you supposed to do with it?
Well, some people are connecting it to like a GoPro so that they can see what the GoPro is seeing. And I guess you could use it for that. Uh, I don't.
Kind
I
of like a
wanted
third
it as
eye.
a secondary monitor. I wanted to have like my Twitter feed over here, and I thought, wow, that'd be awesome because that's the way they advertised it. They said, yeah, hook it up to like a GoPro or something like that, or hook it up to your computer and watch TV over here or something like that. There's no way. I mean, this thing, it's worthless. This is absolutely the biggest piece of junk that I've ever paid for. Um, I went on their website, and or actually they have a Facebook group, and in their Facebook group, there's tons of people saying, yeah, I don't really want mine. Anybody want to buy mine? So most of the people I think who have backed this are probably like me, wishing they hadn't backed it. So if you ever find yourself being tempted to order, now you can order it, pre-order it, they say now. Um, First of all, it was supposed to be done like last fall, and I just got it about a week ago. The glasses that they give you, I mean, these things are.
Oh, those, I thought those maybe were your glasses. So they send glasses with it? That makes
Thin
sense.
glasses. Now you can put this on your own glasses.
Yeah, that's what you'd want to do.
No, you don't, because
Wow.
they they're too heavy. My glasses don't stay on my face well enough with it because my glasses fit. These, my big fat head, they're tight, and so they'll
So,
stay on it. But if you have glasses that fit perfectly, they're going to slide off all the time because it's
so,
too.
so are you supposed to put, your prescription or something in those lenses?
I don't know what they want you to do. They're
I
junk.
almost want to play, Kevin. I almost want to play with that just to see if I could pull off a dual screen thing with iOS with it. Almost.
People say
But
they're doing it, but I'm sorry. Well, no, on iOS, if you connect a video out, adapter to an HDMI, you're not going to get dual screen. You're going to get mirrored screen, right?
Right, right,
They don't have dual screen in iOS at all.
right.
So it's not going to get what you're asking about, Antoine. You can have it. If you come down here or you want to pay me shipping, pay for the
I'll
shipping,
be
I'll
in
mail it to you
I'll be
because
in
I
North
don't
Carolina.
want it just
I'll
going to
be
sit
in North
around doing
Carolina
nothing at my
on
house.
Friday, brother. I'm
What's
in
that?
North Carolina Friday and Saturday, actually.
Well, you stop by and I'll give it to you because this thing is the most biggest piece of junk. Anyway, so that's my least favorite thing. But let me share with you real quickly one of my favorite things. I'll do my best to show it because I don't have an easy way to show off the screen of this. I got this little tablet. It's an Asus Vivo Tab Note 8. And the reason is I love having a stylus. This has a Wacom stylus built in. See if I can find it. And I have a stylus that I bought for a Note 4 a couple years ago. That's bigger, like a pen, which I actually use instead of this most of the time. But I didn't bring it. I'm at my church office. But what the newest version of Windows, if you can see right down here, it's kind of blurry, but if you can see that icon right there, what it does is you tap on it or click on it. See if I can get it to come up now. And they've got this new inking experience thing, menu that pops up. And built right into Windows, you've got sticky notes. You've got a full screen thing. And let me bring it up again and show you.
Are these Windows features or is
These are
this
Windows
Asus?
10 features in the preview version that's currently out for the
Gotcha.
fast ring of Windows. But see, now you got a full screen whiteboard. All right, it has wireless. This little tablet has wireless display, but you could use, a Surface tablet. That's an example image that someone put, somebody at Microsoft drew, and they included it. But I can, let's see here, clear all. So I can draw on there. Oh, don't have a pen selected. So I can draw on there. So if I ever wanted to do whiteboard at church, this would be a neat thing to have next to my iPad Pro that I could, send this to the screen instead of my iPad. Or just when you're in a meeting and you quickly want to take a note, it's got palm rejection on this tablet because it has a Wacom driver. In addition to the sticky notes, let you take a big screenshot. See, this stylus on this tablet is just not very good. So now that's a screenshot, and so now I can. Oh no, it's not. It didn't work.
Would a regular Wacom tablet work with it, Kevin?
Anything that works.
I'm sorry, a stylus rather, a regular Wacom stylus.
The Wacom tablet, it works. The bamboo stylus feel.
Yeah.
No, that's the one that I use. That's really good. See, now I can draw on the screen, which is great if you're teaching someone how to do something. So, Rick, I could see you wanting something like this in accordance for Windows. You bring it up on when you're teaching the thing, and you could bring up this screenshot and highlights and things like that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be neat. How much is that?
Well, this little tablet, this is an old tablet. They don't even make it anymore, but I found it on eBay. I got it for $200. It was originally like $399 or $249 or something like that. But any Windows tablet with a decent stylus will work. So if you got a Surface or a Surface Pro, would do it. But the thing I'm showing you, the tablet is not what I'm really that excited about. Although I like it, it's nice. But that little feature on the toolbar in Windows,
gotcha.
Windows 10, that's what I really like, and that's what I'm excited for. And then it has your most recently used apps down here as well, and you can scroll up. It's got suggested pen apps in the store, so you can pop up that and tap on that and find some of those. So I really like this. Now, I do like the Asus Vivo tab. My son enjoys this because he found that he can plug in the Xbox controller to it and stream Xbox games to this tablet from his Xbox, and there's no lag when you're doing it in your own house. So he's been playing with it more than I have, actually, since I just got the tablet a little while ago. So that's cool. The new pen input feature on Windows 10. If you're on the fast ring of the Windows 10 preview beta, you'll have that available now if you download it and install it. If not, it'll be out soon. It usually takes, at most a month before the new features show up in a build of Windows 10. Maybe 2 months. I don't know. It's hard for me to remember because I put all my Windows computers on the fast ring of the preview. To explain what that means, if you don't know,
you're a brave man.
If you're a Windows user, then you can go in and get the preview builds, and so you're basically testing beta software. You say I'm a brave man, but I haven't had any issues. On the very first few builds of Windows 10 on the Surface Pro 3 were terrible, but once they came out with
That's
Windows,
when I got out of it.
For
the Surface Pro 3.
Kevin, famous last words.
Yeah, they were. Well, see, I don't have a Surface Pro 3 anymore. I've got a Pro 4, but they're pretty good. I haven't had any real stability issues or problems. I haven't had any incompatibilities or anything like that with software. Again, past results don't predict future, but so far I've been pretty pleased with it. We mentioned just to end this real quick. You mentioned Antoine, an Anker charger. Here's an Anker quick charge 18 watt that you could get for $25. So that's about half the price. And you can use just a regular old USB cable with it, right? So maybe this won't be as fast as the 29 watt, but it'll be faster than the 12 watt that came in the box, right? Isn't that what the charger that comes with an iPad Pro is, a 12 watt charger?
Yeah, it's just
I
a
believe
regular
so.
12 watt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a regular 12 watt. It's not anything any extra.
Okay. Well, guys, this has been fun. I've enjoyed it. Next week, can we share publicly next week, Rick?
We can share. I got
Go ahead
confirmation
and
today.
tell them who you got on
Yeah, so we're going to have a couple of representatives from Sermon Central who are going to come on, and they're going to kind of show they're to tie in with what we've been doing with sermon prep and technology, and they're going to show us how someone could use some of the features and resources of sermoncentral.com.
Cool. Sermon Central, if you don't know, is one of those online repositories for preachers. It's got sermons and illustrations and articles and things like that. So go check them out. They're connected to, full disclosure, I didn't know this until just this week, they're connected to Outreach Incorporated, right? And I
That's
work
correct.
for Ministry Tech Magazine, which is a part of Outreach. So just full disclosure, so you know I've got a bit of a tie. Of course, Rick works with Accordance, and they partner with Accordance. So, but that won't cloud. If their product stunk, I'd tell you, it doesn't stink. Ringing endorsement, yeah. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good night. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you don't want to watch us and see our ugly faces. Really, the best way to enjoy our podcast is through video because we do a lot of screen sharing. But if you want to just listen, go ahead and download it at iTunes.com or in any podcasting app because of Stitcher Radio. We put it up there, and they distribute it to all the major podcasting apps like Pocket Casts, my favorite. There's a good pick for both iOS and Android. All right. Were you getting ready to say something, Rick?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Antoine, good to see you tonight.
Good to
We
see you
are
guys as
out
well.
of here.
2 weeks. 2 weeks to International Conference of Computing and Missions, so I'll likely be doing a after conference report
Okay.
in a couple weeks of that as well.
All right. And next week, maybe make that your favorite thing so we can learn a little bit more about it. Is it too late to go to that?
It's too late to register, but
okay. Well, don't
it's
bother.
too late to register for the whole conference. But if you want to come in for one day, or just do the day pass, that's going to be going on throughout the entire conference. And there's some pre-conference workshops.
Okay. Is any of that online?
Yes, iccm.org.
Okay, so you could maybe stream some of that if you can't actually show up.
We might be able to stream. We do have some sensitivities because there are some missionaries reporting who are close countries, and so there are some sensitivities. Yeah, but there will be
awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.